Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Hey everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And I came in today to bring you a little rundown on some stories that I think you might be interested in. And the first ones up are Keisha and Ed Hartwell. And yes, y'all, we're back talking about them. These two are at it again. I think right about now, these two, they just hate each other's guts out. So they're just trying to do any and everything to make the other one's life miserable. But before I get into the latest, let me backtrack and tell you what has happened up until now. Now, y'all know that Keisha and Ed were only actually married for about a year before they decided to call it quits. And let me just tell you a little bit about that year. A few months into the year, they started having problems. Um, Ed said back then that, Keisha was a little selfish. She was a little diva, and they were having issues. He also said that she was obsessed with having a baby. He said that when they discussed it, he told her, hey, look, we only dated for a little while, few months, and then we got married, and we've only been married for a few months. Slow your roll, and let's get to know each other as man and wife. Let's learn to live with each other before we actually bring a baby into it. He said that that fell on deaf ears. All Keisha knew was that she wanted a baby, and she didn't understand why her husband wasn't. Now, basically, at this point, I guess they were really at each other, having problems in their marriage. And Keisha says that one morning she woke up, she thought everything was fine. Her husband left the house. A few hours later, he called her and he told her that he wanted a divorce. Basically, she said that she was blindsided. And ever since that point, these two have been really in the news. Keisha went on Entertainment Tonight, did an interview, discussed them splitting and how she was blindsided and the fact that she was pregnant. Now, after that, things started coming out on Ed's side. He was saying that, he wasn't sure that the baby was his. He kind of mentioned that she had been seeing her ex, so he was a little confused. He said that basically Keisha was the type of woman that was so hell bent on having a baby, he wouldn't put it past her to have, I guess, slept with someone else. I don't know, but that's the way he put it. So, ever since then, they have been battling back and forth. All through Keisha's pregnancy, she was saying stuff like Ed was trying to make her have a miscarriage and this, that, and the other. And they've just been hurling accusations back and forth at each other. I think the latest was that once she had the baby, she put out that Ed did not want to pay child support. Now, Ed comes back and says, that's not it. It's not that I don't want to pay child support, but we're in the middle of our divorce. And what I asked her to do is hold off on them, putting a dollar amount on what I should pay for child support and include that in our divorce decree. He said that neither one of us are poor. There is not an emergency need for child support because Keisha has money and I have money. And let's just, put all this together in the divorce decree. So I guess, that was another battle they had. Well, um, they did the DNA test and it came back that, of course, Ed is the father. So I guess now they are, going through the divorce and everything. And now Ed wants to include, I guess, in the divorce that he gets joint custody of this baby now that the baby is proven to be his. And that brings us up to today. There was a story out that Ed actually got his ex, Lisa Wu, and y'all might remember her from Real Housewives of Atlanta. He got her to write a letter to the judge saying that he is a good father. Now, you know that Lisa Wu and Ed have a baby together, a little boy. And when I heard that, I kind of remembered a story about Lisa Wu and her other children. The letter that Lisa Wu wrote to the judge for Ed said he was a good father. She's never worried about, him when he is with their son together. She can trust him to take care of all of his needs, and, she has no worries. But then I went back and read why, you know, something was tickling my mind about Lisa Wu. And what it is, and y'all, this story is all kind of convoluted. The reason why I remember something about Lisa and her son is because I forgot Lisa has two other sons that she had by Keith Sweat. Those sons she lost custody of to Keith Sweat. And when I went back and read why, the reason why Lisa lost custody is they said, first of all, Lisa pulled a gun on Keith Sweat in front of her children. Now, there are some stories that, believe it or not, which I didn't even know this, that Keith Sweat was abusive to Lisa. Now, in the divorce proceedings, and you can read them online, the judge acknowledges that there has been some abuse on the part of the father towards the mother. But the judge also goes on to say that there is no demonstrated abuse against the children. And the reason why the judge awarded those kids to Keith Sweat is because it said that Lisa was in and out of town often, and she had all these businesses which didn't leave her time to be a mother to her children. It also says that Lisa spent excessive money on herself and not on her children, basically saying that she was selfish. um, and the judge did not feel that the children that the children's best interest was to be with their mother. He felt that he or she, I should say, felt the best interest of um, Lisa's and Keith Sweat's kids were to be with Keith Sweat. So they awarded sole custody of their two sons to Keith. So this letter that Lisa wrote for Ed, they're going to dig up her past with her kids, her oldest two sons, and say, well, wait a minute, this woman is not in a position to write a letter for Ed about being a parent because she doesn't even have two of her own kids because another judge felt that she wasn't a good mother. Y'all, on this one, Keisha might not have nothing to worry about with this letter that Lisa Wu wrote. Y'all, when I went back and read the stuff about Lisa Wu, I had forgot all about that. I remember on Real Housewives of Atlanta her crying about, the situation with her sons. But I didn't quite remember what happened. So when I was doing this story, I had to go back and refresh my memory. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot all about that. And this whole thing with Keith Sweat getting sole custody of the kids. I even read that Lisa tried to fight for custody of them, and I don't think she won because the kids seem to still be with Keith Sweat. Y'all, this whole situation with Ed and Keisha is just a mess. Now, let me just say this. And this is just my opinion, and I'm sure that y'all will, put your opinions down in the comment section. I think that if the man is paying child support, that he is entitled to see his child. And I think that's what the courts are going to tell Keisha. Um, until, he proves that he is an unfit father, they're not going to deny that man, from seeing his child. Now, maybe in the beginning, they might, start off with the supervised visits with the baby. And then once they determine that, he's okay, I don't see why he shouldn't see the child. And I'm a little bit confused. Um, Keisha wanted him to, say that the baby is his, acknowledge that the baby is his. And now that the DNA test has proven it and there's no doubt, she doesn't want him in the baby's life. I know she's upset, because he didn't, or he had doubts about, the baby being his. But now that it's cleared up, she got 18 years to deal with this man. I don't think it's fair to the child. Now, listen what I'm saying. I don't think it's fair to the child to not have a relationship with the father. Whatever happens between mommy and daddy, it doesn't have anything to do with that child. I have been in a situation myself where I split with someone, and even though I couldn't stand that son of a bitch, and I went through child support myself, I had to come to terms with if the man is paying child support, he had a right to see his child, and I as a mother could not deny that man his right. I, even though I couldn't stand him, when I sat down and I really thought about it, I said, you know what, Rachel, this man has a right to see his child. Despite whatever you feel about him, this child deserves the right to see their father. So I had to, kind of put my feelings aside and put on my big girl panties and let my babies go see the father. That's just what it is. She can't have it both ways. She can't ask the man for money for the baby and then not, you know, expect him to want to spend time with the child. It just doesn't work like that. And the courts are not going to deny that man. He you know, it's not being said that he's been abusive to her. It's not being said that he may be a danger to the child. The only problem is that they were feuding back and forth. The biggest problem I see here is during the pregnancy, he wasn't claiming the baby. And I think that that has pissed Keisha off and, it hurt her. So now she's trying to get back at him by saying, no, I don't want him to see the baby. So y'all let me know what y'all think about this story. Do you think that because Ed denied the baby that he has no right to custody, joint custody of the baby? Or do you think that, like I think that the courts, if they're awarding Keisha child support, they're going to tell her that that man has a right to see his baby? Just put it down in the comments, child. I know I was all over with this story, but it was so many layers to it. I wanted to make sure that I got everything out there. Well, on to the next story. Next one up, y'all, is the estate of Bobbi Kristina Brown. And let me just tell y'all what I read. So there is an administrator over the estate of Bobbi Kristina. And basically, this woman, Bedelia Hargrove, just quit. Now, she said the reason why she quit is she just can't deal with Sissy Houston and Pat Houston. Now, let me just tell you what's going on. So, Bobbi Kristina's estate owes $86,000. And this Bedelia Hargrove, who is the administrator of the estate, is saying that she is unable to pay that amount out of Bobbi Kristina'S estate because of Pat and Sissy Houston. Now, on the Houston side, they're saying, hold up, wait a minute. The reason why we're not paying it, we're not giving you the permission to pay it, is because you have not shown us any bills. Basically, the Houstons want to see exactly what this $86,000 is for. Now, on the side of the administrator, she's saying that uh, the reason why that the Houstons don't want to pay is because they have a problem with Bobby Brown and Nick Gordon. Now, on the Houston side, they're saying that, look, you have been pursuing a case against Nick Gordon, blowing through this girl's money. And that, case is fruitless because even if we win, he doesn't have any money. Let it go. The Houstons actually want to let it go with Nick Gordon if it means, I guess, continue to spend money. Because let's face it, y'all, they could win the case. Basically it would be punitive damages, meaning that he would owe them some money. But if the boy don't have any money, the family is saying, why keep wasting her money pursuing that? Now, the whole situation with Bobby Brown, the person that's the administrator of it, is saying that they also have a problem with Bobby Brown. Now, they don't say how Bobby Brown figures into Bobbi Kristina'S estate. If he's wanting money or if he wants to be, the the trustee or something over her estate. They don't say that. They don't even try to allude to the fact that Bobby wants any money. So I don't want to put that out there. But I just found this story to be rather sad. Now, what has happened is they have hired another trustee over Bobbi Kristina'S estate. Which, y'all, let me just say this. I am very glad that there is a trustee, over Bobbi Kristina'S money. Now, I think what happens is Pat and Sissy do have final say on what money comes out of this baby's estate, but they don't have direct hands on her money, meaning they just can't go in her account and take whatever they want. There is someone out there that pays, any bills that are associated with her estate. Now, this money, of course, is the money left to her by her mother, Whitney Houston. I don't know, y'all, on this story. I kind of understand what the Houstons are saying. If we are, the ones that have final say over how the money is spent, we don't have access to it, but you come to us, you tell us, she owes this, that, and the other. We look at the bills and we say, okay, we'll go ahead and pay it. But if the person is not showing the family the bills, I don't blame them for not giving her, the okay to pay some bills that they don't even know what they're for. Hell, the person over her estate could have set up some shit and had phony, people that she owed and be funneling money to some account that she has. And, I don't blame them. I also don't kind of blame them with the whole situation with Nick Gordon. They have their suspicions, that he had something to do with the death of Bobbi Kristina, but they can't prove it. So I guess they say, well, you know, why keep pursuing this case? Why keep throwing good money after bad? We came to the conclusion that that there's some suspicion. We probably will never really know what happens. Don't waste her money by pursuing something that's fruitless because this boy doesn't have any money. I can understand that. Because after a while, after you have gone to court, because they did go to court to try to get him held accountable for the death of that girl. And I don't think that they, I'm not sure exactly what happened, because I thought that he was held legally responsible and they had slapped some type of damages on him, but the boy ain't got the money to pay it. So why would this trustee over Bobbi Kristina'S estate want to keep pursuing it? I don't get that. Now, the whole thing with Bobby Brown, we know how the Houstons feel about the Browns. Y'all, that's old news. We know that they can't stand him. We know that they blame him for a lot of stuff that happened with Whitney. And I don't think to the day Sissy Houston dies that she will ever, you know, have love for Bobby Brown. Let's just keep it real. Now, like I said, it doesn't say that Bobby Brown, um, has anything to do with Bobbi Kristina'S estate. Now, the trustee, Bedelia Hardgrove, she wants Sissy and Pat Houston off of Bobbi Kristina'S estate. She doesn't want their name to, I guess, appear on it. She doesn't want them to have anything to do with it. Now that I have a problem with, because maybe, she's having problems with them, but I'm pretty sure Whitney would want her mother and Pat Houston to be, you know, the executors of or whatever of her daughter's estate. I don't think that Whitney, from what we know of, left anyone else in charge. And I believe that this, the fact that that Pat and Sissy are the executors of, Bobbi Kristina'S estate is directly due to what her mother wanted. Whitney Houston probably left that in her will, that if something happens to me, I want my mother and Pat to oversee, you know, Bobbi Chris, things for Bobbi Kristina. So I think that, they're doing what Whitney wanted. Y'all, this baby, Bobbi Kristina, has been gone just about 2 years now, hasn't it been? And the whole story is just, it's sad. It's sad that that the family is fighting with the trustee over the baby's estate. It's just, all of it is sad, and I hope that they can come to some type of resolution now that they have another trustee. Maybe this new trustee can sit down with the family and understand what's going on. Maybe she can give them an itemized list of whatever bills that Bobbi Kristina'S estate owes, and the family can go over and feel comfortable giving that trustee, the permission to go ahead and pay those bills. Because I can kind of understand what the family is saying. If the woman is not showing them no damn bills, then no, you're not paying them. Because like I said, it is some crooked people out here. The courts could have assigned this woman to Bobbi Kristina'S estate, but hell, we don't know how, you know, honest this woman is, because y'all, money make people do crazy shit. And we have watched stories on television where people have come in and swindled these celebrities out of their money. We have seen lawyers take from someone's estate. So I'm not beyond believing that there's a possibility that, that the person that is in charge of Bobbi Kristina'S estate could be doing something crooked. We've seen it before. So, and the fact that she's not showing them the bills make me a little suspicious too. Because if you want them to pay it, it's simply a matter of printing up everything that the child's estate owes, showing it to Pat and Sissy, and they say, well, you know what? Yeah, she does owe this. Okay, go ahead and pay it. Sorry that we held up everything, but we wanted to make sure. I mean, what did the lady expect, y'all? Don't that sound a little crazy to you? Now, I know a lot of people have, negative feelings about Sissy and Pat, but like I said, I believe that the reason why they're over um, Bobbi Kristina'S estate and why they have final say it's because that's what Whitney would have wanted. Y'all, I can't even talk today, but I believe that that's what Whitney wanted, and I also believe that that's what Whitney left in her will, that she wanted her mother and her sister-in-law Pat Houston to, oversee her child's money. Y'all, let me know what y'all think of this. I am I cannot believe all of this stuff is going on. I hope this family has some resolution because, y'all, if this was my family member and all this stuff had happened, my one family member died in the tub, then a few years later, her daughter died in the tub, and then all this trouble with the money, child, I think I would be wore out and my nerves would be shot. Let me know what y'all think of it, and on to the next story. Okay, y'all, this last story, child, is about Janet Jackson's alleged daughter. Lord, Lord, Lord. Let me just backtrack and tell y'all the story. So, this girl came out and said that she was Janet Jackson's long lost daughter. Y'all, when I first read this story, I was like, did she just wake up one day and say, you know what? I am Janet Jackson's daughter, and I'm going to find the DeBarge's mama, and we're going to have this DNA test to prove it. So y'all know she went and met with Mama DeBarge, and they went and had a DNA test. And the DNA test came back 99%, I guess, positive that she was related to Mama DeBarge. Now, I said in the video that I did originally about this that she might be a DeBarge, but that doesn't mean that she's related to Janet. So since then, what has happened is Mama DeBarge's son, the alleged father of this baby, said, well, okay, my mom went and had the DNA test. Let me go ahead and go have one myself. Let me put this to rest. I want to know finally, if this girl, is, Janet's baby, my baby, whatever. The fact that he even had it tells me that there is a baby out there, y'all. Because if he knew him and Janet didn't have no baby and wasn't no baby put up for adoption, why would he go have a test? You kind of see what I'm saying? So he goes and had a test. And y'all, the tests say 0% chance. Now, I know y'all sitting there listening to me saying, Rachel, we all knew that girl wasn't none of Janet's baby. And we did, y'all. One look at her picture. And a lot of people were trying to, tiptoe around the fact that she is not a beautiful girl. And we know Janet was beautiful when she was younger, and she's a beautiful woman now. But also, too, y'all, she don't look nothing like them. I'm sorry. Okay, Janet Jackson was gorgeous, and I can't think of the DeBarges. Is it James? I think his name is James, child. I'm getting old. But I couldn't think of the man's name. But if it's not James, y'all correct me down in the comments. But okay, let's just look at these two people. He was a very attractive young man. And the DeBarge family, like I said in that previous video, they have a certain look. And the Jacksons do too. This girl didn't look like none of them. Y'all, I'm going to tell y'all a story about my daughter. And just the fact how that family gene kicks in. Okay, when my daughter was born, my mother took my baby picture and put it beside my daughter's baby picture. And my mother said, Rachel, this baby looks exactly like you did when you were born. The only difference is I'm a chocolate thing and my daughter is a little paper sack brown. So my mother was like, that is the only difference. But everything about you, your daughter looks just like you did when you were a baby. Now, about when my daughter turned about 2, 3, 4, She stopped looking like me, and she looks just like her father. We would go places, y'all, and this is why the story kind of, the story that I'm telling y'all kind of pisses me off. Because people will say, "Oh, she's really cute." Speaking of my daughter, and they'll say stuff like, "Rachel, she don't look nothing like you. She looks just like her father." Now, the part that pissed me off is that they would say, "She's cute. She doesn't look like you. She look like her daddy." I used to be like, "Ain't that a bitch?" So y'all saying that because she cute, she can't look like me? Y'all trying to say I'm ugly or whatever? But anyway, y'all, the point I was trying to make is, to this day, my daughter is 22 years old. And when I say she looks just like her father, she looks like her dad with a skirt on. She got his hands, she got his eyebrows, the facial expressions sometimes that she does. She looks just like her dad. My son, on the other hand, we could go places and people will be like, "I know that's your child. He looks just like you." Families have a certain look, and when we all saw that picture, we didn't mean no shade to that young woman that woke up and thought she was Janet Jackson's daughter, but we knew that that wasn't none of her baby. Because just say she didn't look like Janet, then can you at least look like the father? Child, this girl ain't look like neither one of them people, and it just tripped me out that she kind of went to Mama DeBarge, and that lady is elderly, and she had heard the rumors too, and she probably wanted that to be her grandchild, and agreed to go ahead and have that DNA test. And then when little DNA test came back, the mother probably was like, "Oh my goodness," the mother probably is elderly and doesn't understand all of that. She just knew that the child was related to her. But y'all know Bunny DeBarge came out shortly after that and disputed everything that her mother had done, and said that, that there was no baby, and that her mother, this girl kind of, did that little thing where they go to the elderly and convince them to do something. So y'all, I know y'all sitting somewhere laughing and saying, "Rachel, we don't even know why you're reporting this. We knew that that girl wasn't none of Janet Jackson's daughter." But y'all, did she just wake up one morning and was like, "You know what? I am Janet Jackson's daughter"? Did she just do that, y'all? I heard that she was in foster care, most of her life, and maybe this girl has a troubled past, and maybe y'all she ain't dealing with a full deck. But the fact remains that James DeBarge, if I got the name right, he went and had a DNA test also, and it says it is 0% chance that he could be that child's father. So y'all, that's the end of the story. Now, I hope this broad don't come up with nothing else. Now, the fact that James DeBarge went and had it, it stands to reason that there is some little woman out there, young woman out there somewhere, that may be Janet Jackson's daughter. And I don't know if she'll ever come out, but y'all, when I heard that he went and had it, all these years, I didn't believe it. When people would say, "Y'all, Rachel, Janet Jackson was pregnant," I was like, "Nah, she probably had an abortion." I didn't believe that, she had the baby and put it up for adoption. But now that I think about it, the Jackson family was religious, so they probably wouldn't have believed in abortion. They probably would have made her put it up for adoption. But y'all, I didn't want to believe it. I loved the Jacksons when I was younger, and I didn't want to believe Janet had a baby and put the baby up for adoption. But the fact that James Barge went and had that test tells me that there is a baby. So somewhere out there, there is a young woman in her early 30s, and Janet Jackson is her mother. So is she going to come out the woodworks one day? Does she even know? Was she told? Because way back then, 30 something years ago, I think adoption records were kind of sealed, and being that who Janet Jackson was and the Jackson family, I think it's going to be hard for that, whoever that person is, to, if those records are sealed, have them unsealed and be able to find out who her mother really is. Child, the story continues, child. But with that, y'all, this is the end of my video. Y'all know, as always, I thank y'all for watching. And y'all, I realized today that I reached 4,000 subscribers. I'm going to do a little quick video about it, thanking everybody, but I couldn't end this video without, saying that, oh my God, I cannot believe y'all are watching my videos. I just can't believe it. But with that, everyone, thank you again for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. You guys have a great day.